Rossi Lima Padilla, and all. So those are our panel members, and we have Karen Klein Tardif, who used to live in Rockport, now lives in Arkansas, but she's still doing our website and all that. We want to, we're so glad that everybody's. And I really hate to do this. I got all these, well, I don't hate this because this is really what got us here and everything. These people have been extremely kind to us. I also want to just point out that Mark Hartlaw, Dr. Hartlaw right here, who used to be the former dean of the College of Illinois, who has been a supporter from our very first year, and this is our 8th, okay? So he is in our crowd today. I just want to say that. I appreciate that, Mark. Glad you're here for the poetry. Besides Mark Hartlaw, we have the Coastal Bend Writing Project and their director, associate provost, Dr. Susan Wilk Murphy, who has done a great job. The financial support they paid for the majority of the Rob Jackson Poetry Awards last night, and we were generous. We give $50 to the honorable mentions, $75 to the second and third prize, and $100 to the first prize. Their gift cards and all, but we also give them a copy of Rob Jackson's book, Open Heart, as well. And then the Texas A&M Corpus Christi College of Liberal Arts and the Dean, Sean Reese Campbell, who has continued the generosity to support the PPF. The CLA's event specialist, Cynthia Della Rosa, who helped with the catering, the programming, printing. All the mistakes in the program are my fault. And I'm working with the marketing department, and Associate Provost Administrative Assistant Leanne Given for her support. The support from the Texas A&M University Corpus Christi English Department, and the chair, no longer my chair, since I retired last May, Dr. Catherine Quick-Schumann, and her administrative assistant, Saja Carpenter, who have helped with last-minute tasks and purchases. From marketing and communication, Marcom, we'd like to thank Director of Marketing, Ashley Larrabee, Louisa Butler, and Richard Guerrero. From University Center, Student Activities, Ms. Dina Espinoza, and our gentlemen here who are working diligently for us. We appreciate it from the UC staff. Also, we'd like to thank the volunteers from the Islander Creative Writing Students Group, Sigma Town, and also Team UCC students. Also, we want to thank our other partner, Del Mar College, and Texas A&M University Corpus Christi, and Comfort Inn and Suites near Texas A&M University. We got a deal for them. I'm not sure anybody got in there. The Switchgrass Review, the House of Fighting Chupacabras, Tail Feathered Press, Gnashing Teeth Publishing, Maze Publishing, Twining Tree Farm, Texas Poetry Assignment, Feeding Texas, Islanders Creative Writers, and Case-Based Contemporary. And besides them, in Lazy Beach Brewery and Cafe, and their manager Sarah Latham. And our open mic MC for tonight will be Stefan Sensor and all. And then also too, last night we had just a wonderful time at the All Saints Episcopal Church with their pastor, Jonathan Wickham, allowing us the space in the Labyrinth, which is just a beautiful location for a reading. And so we're going to just remind you of the open mic. I already mentioned that before, but I think we're going to move on and bring up my colleague and fellow Corpus Christi Poet Laureate, Juan Manuel Perez, for the Speculative Veterans Band. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I think it's good. And I know you can hear me, so. Just want to thank our creator, whatever name that you call your creator. So, first of all. Second, thank you to Tom and of course the committee for the People's Poetry Fest. Thank you to Tammy Yu and all the people that support us throughout these years. The English department as well, the writers groups, and of course the poets themselves as well. And let's see, I had a whole bunch to. And congratulations to our fellow vet right over there, Robert Carson, our new poet laureate, right over there. Thank you very much. All right. Sometimes boys don't get enough fanfare, so we try to do the best we can. That's why I'm kind of outrageous sometimes, okay? So I do it for y'all. Let's see, I think I named everything, everybody except the people sitting over here, the vets. This is a particular type of panel that features veterans. First of all, there's veterans in the audience as well, that are writing speculative poetry, and you're probably asking, well, what the heck is that? I'll answer that in a minute. But of course, we have several, we got 3 there, including myself. I think I'm the youngest. I'm just kidding. I don't know if I am. Anyways, so I'm the most prettiest, maybe. I'll keep my glasses.
You have the nicest hair.
Oh, yeah, that's it. I knew it was something. Anyways, arg, anyways. So we wanted to feature some of that poetry that sometimes it's missed, but speculative poetry has a lot of range. It's horror, it's real horror, it's fantasy, it's comic book poetry, it's, a slasher movie, it could be cyberpunk, it could be anything that what we would not consider as ordinary. So essentially that is, and sometimes there's poetry that people write that don't even realize that that's considered speculative as well. So I've been doing it for several years as far as trying to bring up the idea that exists. There's a lot of other people that do it too, but I do it myself. I put it out there. Sometimes I write stuff that's pretty silly, and it's going like, why are you writing this stuff? And this ain't real. You're not a real writer. I get that. I'm like, okay, I'm having fun though. So there, I got you, right? Anyways, so you're gonna hear today, hopefully, I hope, some poetry that is reminiscent of a lot of horror writers, Edgar Allan Poe, maybe even Stephen King. I don't know. Definitely gonna hear some pirate stuff in case you didn't figure that one out. So I'm looking forward to that too as well. So we got what did I say? Anyways, these are fantastic folks here. So we're gonna bring our A game up here once we start talking. I'm gonna share poetry between each one of them. But again, this is a celebration of speculative writers or speculative poetry and veterans, period. So sometimes, when we talk about veterans, we're usually talking about other things that, people that have never been in the military don't know anything about. So, and sometimes we try to relate that to you. It works sometimes, and sometimes it don't. Like earlier I asked, did everybody turn in your D214 at the door? And like, what was that?
I laughed.
Those that know that works, I laughed. All right. So anyhow, so let's get it started. We got Mr. Arthur Medina's gonna go first, and then Mr. Steve Luss, and then the greatest pirate in the world is gonna go last, Eastern. So, and then we'll go in with the Q&A. If you have any questions, or maybe you're just going like, what the hell did just happen? You need to get that, what just happened? So, for me, I don't know about them, I usually get that. So, sometimes I get that from political stuff. I get cuss words too, but anyways. So I'm gonna read this, we all got, actually, Pete's got books, Steve's got books, I've got books, they're probably back there, I think. Pete, his book's available, he doesn't have it. Pull it up.
I have one copy.
Yeah.
But it was a gift for one.
It's
So.
a weapon. Weapon of words.
These are not poems.
No, but anyways, we all have books available. His is available online at the moment. So if you like what you hear, then by all means, ask. So today I want to share sonnets that I converted into sonnets because they're zombie sonnets. And then I'm going to share stuff about the chupacabra, my spirit animal. So cousin to Poeple, the trickster. So that's why I joke a lot sometimes. So it fits right in. Except the only problem is that the chupacabra is not supposed to be as huge as I am, but he's in here somewhere. Okay. And then I'm going to share with you at the end indigenous futurism. So you've probably seen it, just don't know what it is. It's actually got a label to it. So I'll share that by the end before we do like Q&A. So let me read you a few poems, and then we'll start off with Medina in just a second. All right. This is from the book Truth in the Time of Chupacabras. The irony, if you pay attention to the title. I'm gonna read you 3 poems from it. Again, these are not sonnets. And if I have to take my glasses off, I'm sorry, sometimes we don't have light here, so excuse me for a second. This is called 7 Chupacabra Chews. Number 1. You can lead a chupacabra to the goat, but you can't make it drink from its throat. Number 2. If it walks like a chupacabra and it snores like a chupacabra, then it must be chupacabra. These are the 7 Chupacabra Chews, by the way. Number 3. Give a chupacabra a goat, and it will feast for the night. Teach a chupacabra to be a goat herder, and it will live forever. Number 4. Concealment is the first chapter of the book of Chupacabra Wisdoms. Number 5. Success is to be measured not so much by the amount of goats one has consumed in life, as by the amount of shotgun shells one has dodged through it. Number 6. A keen chupacabra may escape quickly, but its tail it will never evade. Number 7. A chupacabra by the bun is worth 2 on the run. So, maybe I should explain what chupacabra is. Chupacabra is an urban legend. It is in some places it's a dog with spikes, compared to the cholo dog. We know what that is, the Mexican cholo dog. In other places it's an alien-looking, 4'9" alien-looking thing that's on Puerto Rico, right? Green skin, gray skin. So, depends on how you see it. I see it more from an indigenous point of view, and then sometimes it is a political figure for me, because it is elusive, always crossing borders, not only real borders, but imagination. So, anyways, and that's why I use it a lot. Sometimes the poems are actually political. Let me continue with the 7 Chupacabras. 7 Chupacabra Chews, there's actually a second set, and I'll read that, and then I'll read something more that looks like a poem, rather than just saying. 7 more Chupacabra Chews. Number 8. What is true happiness except the harmony between the chupacabra and the goats he must slay? Number 9. So long as the book of Chupacabra Truths remains empty, so shall your life remain devoid of belief. Number 10. Don't put the chupacabra before the bloodless evidence. Its brother, the wolf, has a claim in the deed. Number 11. Dead chupacabras tell no tales. Dead goats cry no crime. Denying the wrongful deed, taunting coyotes do no time. Number 12. A goat dies 1,000 deaths. The dog simply goes missing. The cat will go through at least 9 lives, but the chupacabra, again, lives forever. Number 13. A chupacabra without fangs is like a goat in its clutches. A chupacabra without fangs are like fat, defenseless colaches. And the last one. Number 14. Truth killed the goat. A temporary belly as a coffin. Hunger pushed the chupacabra to a lifetime of murder. So, in case you haven't figured out, chupacabra is a goat sucker, but that's necessarily, goats not the only victims. Usually small dogs and other animals are prey. So, all right. This is in the style, this second to last poem is in the style of The Road Not Taken. Except this time it's the goat not taken. So if you know what the other poem is, this will make sense to you. 2 goats behind a barnyard fence, unhappy, I could not take them both. Ate up with hunger, one so intense, I looked around for their defense. I detected none, I swear by oath. I took another, for then I saw 3, perhaps the fatter the better meal. Maybe the slowest, but just as free, my luck was running for best indeed, only my meal shall I thus steal. And all that evening we equally fed, 2 goats on the grass and 1 to the ages. With belly half full, what else can be said? 1 now will live, now 2 are just dead. It will be written in the morning pages. Before dawn breaks, gone will I be. The goat not taken will prance in the sun. To live and let live, as the farmer will see, when he ponders and wonders on what to believe. For soon I return. For now, I must run. All right, thank you. Now for what I call a classic, and this requires you to growl at me. Can you growl? I know that part over there, God. Hey, how you doing? All right, here we go. This is I am Chupacabra. When I say hear me growl, then you growl, okay? All right, here we go. I am Chupacabra. Hear me growl. Through the decades of infamy, through the media of lies, dark of deception, through the conversation of who or what is real, where the media is in fact its own myth. I am Chupacabra. Hear me growl. At the insanity of death blamed on me, at the ghosts of witnesses pointing their finger the other way, where rogue restaurants and coyotes are to blame for a painted bloody landscape framed around me. I am Chupacabra. Hear me growl. And classical mythology and urban myth, whose proposal of me is non-existential, whose proponents deny a rightful throne to me, my one and only true character. I am Chupacabra. Hear me growl. With the anger of pre-Columbian culture that perpetuates its mystical figures, their lloronas, their mixed, non-conflicting Christian paganism, their bronze-colored Virgen de Guadalupe, I am Chupacabra. Hear me growl. For it may be the last time in your history, for it threatens to kick me out of that already sick gate where many other creatures are denied immigration into the land of that great, sweet promise of imagination. I am Chupacabra. Hear me growl. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Everybody's still standing, all right? Ready to go? All right. I want to bring up here Mr. Apple Medina, and their bios are available online, I think. So come on up here, brother. He's going to read for about 15 minutes, and we're going to pull him off. I'm just kidding.
If you read the actual bio, you may have been expecting M. But 9 months ago, the hair showed up, so here I am.
He was on the line.
I think that's exactly.
Before? After. I like the after. I don't have much experience with speculative reading or writing, but it was a great invitation that I got from my brother here. And I'm glad I accepted it because I met a lot of different people that I didn't think I was going to meet. So it's exciting to be here. Thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate it. Here's my first poem. It's called High School Freshman. High School Freshman. This year I was a high school freshman. I was happy to find new and different experiences. My first day, I fell for my classmate, a cute Brenda Lee lookalike. I didn't know that Terco was in the picture. Yes, Terco was bad news. I didn't know the gangs had a protocol. I was somewhat sheltered. My cousins belonged to La Langa, so I was untouchable. However, nobody told Terco. He was a chingon. Word got out that I was moving in on Terco's girl. Terco's girl, snap. I usually walk home alone. I saw Brenda walking and I joined her to make my move. When I saw Brenda, I forgot everything about Terco, blah, blah, blah. That gangster. Then Primo caught up to us and whispered in my ear, Terco is looking for you. Primo looked worried. 3505. I think I better run home. I told Brenda that I have to help Primo with something. Well, as luck would have it, Terco caught up with me before I got home. He had his gang with him, so I got a deluxe bam that day. I used to be good looking before Terco found me. I think I'm gonna change my name now. I'm going from that scene. On the postscript, Brenda Lee ended up going steady with my primo. Cool. My second poem is El pájaro del roble. El pájaro del roble. While driving to college town Kingsville that night, my wife and I heard about the pájaro del roble, and we listened closely. Now there were many county-wide reports of sightings, reports of a humongous bird attacking a Robstown family. We laughed nervously because the bird was over 5 feet tall. Now the next 15 seconds happened so quickly. On that small highway hill, you may have to pay closer attention. Suddenly, a car flashed their headlights behind our Beetle VW. Their headlights kept going on and off, kind of warning us. A menacing shadow became visible on the rear window. We thought, could it be El pájaro del roble coming and hovering above us? My wife noticed the shadows moving on the rear window. We heard a grasshopper sound from inside the car. We were both nervous. Maybe the pájaro del roble is after the bugs in the car. The shadow catching up with us was getting bigger and bigger. My wife was nervous. Should I drive fast or pull over? Heck no, to pull over is always certain death in the movies. So I floored it. We'll see how fast this bird can fly. After that, we didn't talk much. All the drive home. More cool. My third poem is called In the Campground. Bam! The rain kept pouring down with a purpose. Here I am in the background of the campground, stranded, waiting for help. Random thoughts kept floating about aliens and UFOs. Yet the rain was such a wonderful grounding aroma of freshness. Everybody forgot about fishing and was talking about aliens and UFOs. Suddenly, the thunder and lightning added to the rain. Louder and louder. My ears were ringing. The noise was louder and louder. I can't think straight. And those stray dogs are looking like wolves now. I knew it. Panic again. They're coming for us. Suddenly a bright light hovered above our tent. I was trembling and cold after walking out in that pouring rain. Now the panic took over. Help! I remembered. My brother tells me, you're a grown-ass man at 15. Okay. The light hit me. I froze. I just couldn't move. I felt frozen yet lightheaded at the same moment. No, am I being abducted? I screamed and I screamed. The rain kept hitting me as I faced the sky. Mama, ayúdame, I can't get loose. The aliens got me. Next, I heard my brother's voice calmly say, Mama, he's having another nightmare. Really getting into it now. The next selection is called Walking by El Diablo's Gang Hideout. Walking by El Diablo's Gang Hideout. Again with the walking. Why couldn't Dad drive us there? It's a tough barrio. Aliviánate, just cool it, Brother whispered. Anytime you're walking by a Diablo's gang hideout, it's scary. We have to pass by there on our way to Tia Rosa's house. Those vatos carry knives and guns. Brother cautioned, be cool, carnalito. Yeah, see, I was concerned. Sometimes they threw rocks. I didn't know my brother knew El Diablo. As I walked faster, I heard, pace yourself. Avoid the dog chases. We walked slowly and steady, yet I could sense my brother was nervous. Maybe that glitch with the gang was not fixed. Sadly, brother got stabbed today. So much blood. The attack was so fast. I don't know how it happened. It occurred to me that maybe Terco was related to Diablo and payback somehow must have been in stabbing my brother. The story of Brenda Lee look-alike continues to grow. Terco involved, I don't know. What do? Brother was bleeding and bleeding and bleeding. The ambulance was on his way, but my brother didn't live. He died. Terco's gang showed up to retaliate on a long-standing feud. More blood and more blood. Terco lives, and Diablo died in a bloodbath. Mama! Brother yelled again. Chavalito's having nightmares again. This one is entitled, let me be cool about this, I am just a child. I am just a child playing, what do I do, what do I know at the age of 5? I can sense people around me, and I am anxious and afraid. Everyone is bigger, smarter, and braver, and works in packs. I am just a child, but I can see you. I believe that my baby steps give me courage. Having to look up to you, and you, and you, and you, I'm scared. I'm afraid, for no reason. Do I turn around? Is there someone behind me? Should I just panic and run and keep running? Do I dare turn around and look into those eyes? What would my prize be if I could see those eyes? Uh-oh, the steps are getting louder and getting closer and closer. What should I do? Why am I scared? Why am I scared? I felt a hand on my shoulder and I stopped moving. I didn't scream. Whatever it was, I'll have to face it. I will not cry. I am not a kid. Am I? Uh-oh. Use my words, that's it. Oh, hello, Ma. I was just playing hide and seek. You're it. Sorry, I didn't mean to scare you. My laugh. I enjoy reading this, okay? Thank you for the invite. I appreciate it. This last one is called, and it's in part 1 and part 2, okay? I like part 1 and part 2. It's called Excusado. Outhouse. Excusado. Bear with me. I always walked that outhouse path at a fast pace. My pimples sometimes did weird things to hide my fear in my face. Excusado, my brother said. You gotta go, right? Bruja, bruja, bruja. Not yet. I said, outside you barely see the light. The path from our house to the outhouse is over 100 feet. I knew as soon as I got there, I had to bleat, bruja, bruja. always got scared out of my skull every time I heard that. I know there was a witch out there. Not a place that you could bring a friend. Scared? You say, yes, I'm scared. Sí, cara de güey. Despisado. Family always heard me. They giggled. Knew I was scared. A dog barked and I silently farted. You know, when I had to move fast. La bruja, la bruja, la bruja. You could hear in the background, la bruja, la bruja. Cricket noises, bug noises, la bruja, la bruja. Crows, la bruja, la bruja. Windy tree branches, plants, bushes, weeds in the trunk, fruit trees past the benches. Most dangerous to watch out for the neighborhood witch. La bruja, la bruja. I kept rambling. No sé, vengo, voy, pollo soy. Slowly walking to go, swift as a doe. Cool arrow, my brother said. Cuidadito. So there you go now. And I got everybody up in case La Bruja shows up. Part 2. La Bruja continues. La Bruja, la Bruja! I finally made the jump out of bed and ran to the back of the door and my face was all red. La Bruja, la Bruja! I know she's out there. There's a Bruja out there tonight. Otherwise, why all this unnecessary Bruja fight? I stumbled. La Bruja, la Bruja! I fell. I got closer to the outhouse. La Bruja, la Bruja! Wish I had not drunk that last Dr. Pepper. Great. Bruja, Bruja! My knee, but no one could see. So Bruja, Bruja! No one for some sympathy. La Bruja, la Bruja! A squirrel dashed by. Bruja, la Bruja! And I remember La Bruja could fly and I almost poked my eye. I closed my eyes and I opened them again. Yes, you guessed it. It was just another bat. I smiled and made my way through the noise, hoping no one would notice this thing I raised with just another voice. I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to go.
All right, not so fast.
Oh, by the way, I will announce my books. I have 2 books that I have published. Published first at the age of 74 years ago, and then pandemic came in. So you can find these books, Arbor Medina Poetry, 50 Years of My Life, in Amazon. And I have some in the back. My wife told me to bring some. But anyway, these have nothing to do with the readings. But I enjoyed that. Thank you.
All right. And we'll present you with
Oh, and I pay traffic to everybody on behalf of my family and my friends.
All right, thank you, sir.
Wow, that was fun.
La Bruja! La Bruja! La Bruja!
All right, that was good. I never looked at it, the bruja as a bowel movement, but man, now I know what to do. I'm just gonna yell real loud so nobody can hear what I'm doing. So, especially around the kids at school. La bruja! La bruja! What was that, sir? Thought I saw something over there. All right, that was good. Thank you. Before I bring my next brother up here, who I actually met at stage when he's been doing stage for quite a while. He does voice acting too, so you're gonna be able to taste that out right now in a few minutes. As a matter of fact, the play was called One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. So, we're all kind of cuckoo anyway, so you might have seen the movie. We did the play 2013, matter of fact, 10 years already.
Yeah, it's been.
Yeah, it's when I first met him.
Yeah.
So he played one of the patients. I played the same guy. So no, I'm just kidding. That was just crazy. All right, let me read you 3 sonnets that I converted from sonnets, and it's supposed to be funny. So if they're not funny to you, then all right, I get it. It's a hard crowd.
Not much we can do.
Nothing I can do about that. This is from Terror from the Zombie Zone, season 3. You got season 1 and 2 there as well, if you're interested in that. And then of course season 3, working on season 4. All these are published poems somewhere else, All I did was put them together in one book and put them out. So these are previously published poems by themselves. This is called Beware. Must do during a zombie apocalypse. 1. If you're reading this list, relax. You're not yet a flesh-eating zombie. 2. Always have your weapon on ready, whether it's shotgun, machete, or chanclas. 3. What? Sandals have scared millions silly through decades of Spanish-speaking cultures. Must not do in zombie apocalypse. 1. Never play games with friendly zombies. You will be the human in the middle. 2. Don't accept dinner invitations. You will be the only course for the night. And 3, this is very important. Don't eat heavy on Mexican food. It will slow you down and they will smell you out. Thank you. Thank you very much. If you didn't get that smell part, I can't help you. So, all right, this is called Easy. Again, these are sonnets, so they're 10, actually these are 10 syllables per line, 14 lines. Okay? And English teachers do have a hard time accepting what I say. So it's not my problem anyway. So. It's not so easy being a zombie. I mean, the way the world treats you today. I tried being kind to this couple once, but all they did was scream and yell at me. I extended my hand to calm them down as I gave them back a leg out nibble. It's not easy being a zombie. I mean, with all these bullets in my chest. I tried to be good to my old teacher. I was picking her brain like she told me when I was young, student in her class. Now she's cold and clammy without much to say. It's not easy being a zombie. I mean, when people always avoid you. Thank you. Again, these are very short. Nebulous. This is my very calming poem. Nebulous. Look at the sky, how beautiful the clouds, supine in the field, beauty of nature. That cloud looks like a pretty white rabbit. It just might be a polar bear. Oh wait, no, it's actually a cow. How about that one? Soft and so fluffy, such a wonderful thing it is indeed. I close my eyes to sleep among the clouds, feeling the warmth of the sun on my face, remembering how wonderful life was, so lively with the loud noise of living. As they slowly eat away at my limbs, and I gently slip away from this world. Thank you. And as I always get questions, so this is entitled Questions, in case you're wondering about zombies, since I ramble about questions. You probably have a lot of questions on how I ramble about the undead. Well, maybe I am one, or maybe not, does it matter? Do I have to be one in order to write about zombies? Look here, writers are always writing about living in just a certain way, about things we don't really understand, like why zombies are much better lovers. Once going, there's no desire to stop. Promise them a choice, fresh piece of your ex, and they will have your piece in fresh order. No better way to hide all those bodies than to eat them in case there are questions. All right. So, next I'm bringing up my shipmate, Pete. Let's see what he's got to say.
Hi, how's it going? I'm a Navy veteran. I served for 20 years. Oh, Chloe, don't go away. Ask that young lady to stay. She's the only one in the room I know. And I didn't even know she was going to be here. All right, I'm going to tell your mom you walked out on me. She left anyway. My name is Pete Lutz. I'm an entertainer by nature. I love writing. I've written a book of plays, which just came out. It's 13 of my favorite audio dramas. I'm an actor. I've written poetry sporadically over the years. I think I remember my first poem that I can actually pinpoint was in the 3rd grade. and it was called The Murder Mummy. So I've been writing speculative poetry for quite a while, but I didn't have anything new. I didn't have anything that I could bring today. So I asked Juan, give me an assignment. Tell me what's a good type of poem to write. And he writes back almost like 30 seconds after I sent him the email. He says, give me a crown of sonnets. Who knows what a crown of sonnets is? Okay, a couple of you. For those who don't know, and I didn't know, I had to look it up. A crown of sonnets is 7 sonnets that are in sequence. They tell a complete story. And you have to write them in such a way that the last line of each sonnet becomes the first line of the next one. This guy. This guy. He didn't tell anybody else to write a frickin' crown of sonnets, but
We didn't ask. We know it.
So, what I have for you today is, and he also suggested the subject matter, which was a guy who is probably the last man on earth who puts out a radio show every day trying to find people who might still be alive. So that's what that's about. So it's called Radioactive Ron. Oh, and since I'm an actor, I have to have, and an audio dramatist, I have to have special effects. So this is my special effect. Radioactive Ron is on the air with tunes to make you want to twitch your hips and some designed to make you sit and stare and contemplate this new apocalypse. I say this every day as I sign on. Repeat it several times in case they hear. For survivors, are there any? Patty? John? Family, friends, or strangers, far or near? And in between, I broadcast every song that I can get my hands on, jazz or rock, hip-hop, R&B plus Muni Long, or William Haley's Rock Around the Clock. Music doesn't matter. Message does. To wit, or think the place she used to was. To wit, or think the place she used to was, and everything just happened all at once. One day your baby's face is soft as fuzz. The next he's tatted up and smoking blunts. Don't ask me why. I'm up here all alone. The 27th level is my lair. There's no one left to call me on the phone or join me sitting in that other chair. We're getting power. No one sends a bill. How long we'll have it, only heaven knows. And thus the empty hours do I fill. Like the emperor, my purpose has no clothes. But naked though it be, what helps me cope? That thing with feathers. Emily's friend, Hope. That thing with feathers, Emily's friend, Hope, sustained me in the early days of this, when I was strung out, feeling like a dope, and standing about an inch from the abyss. I screamed, I cried, I called out every name of everyone I'd seen the day before. My wife, my kids, my friends, and then my shame at stealing unpaid items from the store. But hope soon drew me backward from the ledge. I reasoned that there couldn't be just me. So in my heart I made a tearful pledge. My fellow humans, where'er you may be, find you I duly must, I told myself. I took determination off the shelf. I took determination off the shelf, and like a shawl upon my shoulders wear, I'm sending out my words up north of Guelph and south of Rio, bouncing on the air. For entertainment's sake, my voice ain't much, and these old records really show their age. If you hear me, I hope you get in touch. But zombies, please just shuffle past my cage. Although to tell the truth, I think I might be glad to see the stumbling undead pass. See something moving other than the light or the wind as it shifts the dying grass. It doesn't really change much here, the view. It's nice enough, but better seen by two. It's nice enough, but better seen by two. And by now I'm not picky, I don't care. Male or female, dog or pony, kangaroo. All free to join me in that other chair. It serves me, usually, to act aloof. To act as if I wouldn't even glance at another living being's foot or hoof, oblivious as Joe Cool at his high school dance. It's always quiet, but even more at night. And at these times, aloofness goes bye-bye. Emotion swallows me, my throat grows tight, and saved up lonesome tears for hours I cry, till I emerged next morning, hoarse and spent, another day to shine and represent. Another day to shine and represent! I tell myself each morning as I choose the records that would make me president if tunes were votes instead of rock and blues. I represent mankind in glory full. Today no war! Ironically I shout. Peace prevails! My symbol is a gull. Unfortunately, doves have all died out. From my tower, I see an unmanned tank. Empty Humvees, big guns topside mount. But generals and colonels I outrank. My last man standing status? Don't discount. I flip a switch, into the mic I stare. Radioactive Ron is on the air. Radioactive Ron is on the air. That house is empty. No one dwells within. Radioactive Ron is on the air. School is vacant. No class to begin. Radioactive Ron is on the air. Corner store is free of shoppers now. Radioactive Ron is on the air. Stock market has stopped ticking off the Dow. Radioactive Ron is on the air. Fields overgrown with sticker burrs and weeds. Radioactive Ron is on the air. Libraries full of books that no one reads. Hey, humanity! Is anybody there? Radioactive Ron is on the air. Thank you. Okay, this next one's a little lighter. Whereas it took me a couple of weeks to write this one. I wrote this one in an hour. I know the subject matter. It's autobiographical. I wrote it about a little piece of my childhood, and it's called The Kid Who Was Scared of Vampires. Growing up the way I did in central Illinois, TV choices were limited when I was a boy. With only 3 channels, you watched what was on. And for me, television was sine qua non. From Gilligan's Isle and Star Trek to Bewitched, I learned to tell time when the channels got switched. Mission Impossible, Get Smart, Dick Van Dyke, these were only a few of the programs I liked. But I didn't come here to talk about these. No, these shows didn't give my young nerves a tight squeeze. No, they didn't chill my young spine by degrees. The thing that did was monster movies. Frankenstein, mummies, werewolves, and wizards. A small town gets attacked by gargantuan lizards. And of all the monsters I chose to admire, at the top of the heap was the bloody vampire. This king of the darkness who comes out at night invaded my psyche and gave me such fright that at bedtime I tucked the bedclothes round my neck. This then would stymie a vampire, by heck. Simultaneously was I drawn and repelled by this mythical creature. In his grasp he held this strange little boy from a jerkwater town, like an illicit novel you just can't put down. How can I describe the indescribable fear, the thrill I felt watching the vampire draw near to his victim, while I backed off from the TV, as if this foul creature were eyeing poor me. The rest of the picture I watched from afar, eyes glued to the set, but you'd need a crowbar to pry me away from the place where I stood. Nobody can blame me, and nobody should. I miss those past days when the old films were new and my eyes weren't jaded by all I've lived through. I miss that small boy and the thrill he'd acquire, because there's nothing so real as a movie vampire. Thank you. Those 2 were new, written especially for today, but I wanted to bring something in to prove that I've been writing poetry for a while. And I remembered that when I was in the Navy on USS Raven, which was just across the bay in Ingleside back in the 90s, I had written a special deck log entry. Now in the Navy, how many Navy vets? Okay. In the Navy, you stand watches, and you might stand one on the quarterdeck, which is where everybody comes aboard. And the officer of the deck is the guy you see on the quarterdeck. Well, every mid-watch, which is midnight to 4, you have to write a special deck log entry, which describes where the ship is located geographically, how it's moored, what pier it's on, who is the senior officer president afloat or the SOPA, who's the command duty officer or CDO, and other things like that. And for New Year's Eve, our CO wanted a special deck log entry to reflect New Year's Eve, and he turned to me, I don't know why, but he said, can you write something special for this deck log entry for New Year's Eve? And I said, I'll give it a try, and I thought, okay, USS Raven, wasn't there a poem written by somebody called The Raven? Who was that? And so I came up with this poem. This is in the same meter as The Raven, and it reflects all of these things that I just said, plus a few other things. And so in the deck log, you might see 0000, which is military time for midnight, continued the watch as follows, with sincere apologies to Mr. Edgar Allan Poe. Once upon a mid-watch dreary, while I pondered, weak and weary, over many a quaint and curious decalogue as the OOD, on the clock the hands were meeting, the space in between receding, 1998 retreating, 99 it soon would be. All my friends are out, I muttered, out at parties, feeling free. I'm on watch, I cried, why me? Distinctly I remember, 'twas the last day of December, USS Raven, since September, moored at Navstay Ingleside. I was feeling very vaguely troubled, for though the I was feeling vaguely troubled, though the mooring lines were doubled. Yes, the standard fore were doubled, fore and aft on the port side. And this feeling came on me as Raven shifted in the tide. It is just not fair, I cried. So made I my mid-watch entry as a pitiable sentry, and included in my entry, berth 1-1 at Alpha Pier, moored alongside USS Cardinal. Gods, this watch is such a hard pull, and was wishing for a yard full of some fizzy New Year's cheer, a yard, a glass, or just a droplet of some glorious New Year's cheer. Why's this happen every year? In the dark stood I complaining, like a gale bad luck was raining, and my uniform was staining from the bitter tears I shed. Deep into that darkness peering, long I stood there, wondering, fearing. Violent wishes were now steering toward my section leader's head. Yes, 'twas he gave me the mid-watch, who now lies safe in bed. He should go and just drop dead. To my deck log now returning, all the while my anger burning, with an unrequited yearning for the party that I'd missed. SOPA is the Incheon CO, Chief Torado is CDO, so sing Auld Lang Syne for me-o, and the girls who won't be kissed, at the fateful stroke of midnight at the party that I missed. I'm not mad, I've just been dissed. Cold iron security watches posted, in my log I proudly boasted, and my friends have probably toasted to their health with bubbly wine. Yokes are material condition, a proud nautical tradition. When will this watch meet its fruition? In the name of all divine, why do my mates go out and hold it up beneath a neon sign? Should be me, I softly whine. And the Raven, ever shifting, is now lifting, dropping, lifting, amongst the various land fleet units here along this Texas shore. And my eyes have all the seeming of a demon's that is dreaming, and the tears from out them streaming keep a-falling on the floor. In my present sorry state, I'm glad the captain is ashore. Happy New Year, nevermore. Now, thank you. That's from 1999, 24 years ago. But if I've got a little time, I want to observe a type of poetry that doesn't get the recognition it deserves. It's looked down upon by poets, but it's fun. It's a very fun type of poetry. Maybe you can guess what I'm going to say. Limericks. Now, I have, in the past, these are not new, but I wrote them a few years ago for a horror audio drama that I host, and I had a competition during the pandemic for people to send me their horror-related limericks. See, there's a limerick fan right there. But I have a few of these, and I'll read them, and then I'll be done. I started avoiding my gal when she sucked all the blood from my pal. Then moved on to my dad, and it makes me feel bad. I can't leave her, but someday I shall. Oh, hand me my pliers again. Some cracks put a nail in my brain. I tried the claw hammer, but it just made me stammer. I hope that this won't leave a big stain. Enjoying a taco at luncheon, Jose, busy chewing and crunching, didn't hear Flo with her soft burrito till she used it on him like a truncheon. A werewolf who wanted a snack just before his next lunar attack said, I should be quite wary, but when I'm not hairy, these thin mints are to me are like crack. And one final. You can save up to half of your rent with this entrepreneurial bend. Collect the deposit by leasing your closet to people of murderous intent. Thanks very much. We're very happy to be here. My book is called Get Me. Oh, sorry, I forgot to mention that our this section of our program is brought to you by Crazy Crambone's Discount Warehouse. I not only wrote the plays, I wrote commercials for them. Hi friends, I'm here with a special offer from one of our sponsors, Crazy Crambo's Discount Warehouse in Sandusky, Ohio. Crazy Crambo is offering a truly nutty bargain at the old Discount Warehouse. He has just received a shipment of something that will appeal to owners of Chinese restaurants who are looking to save money, or just to people with an unusual sense of humor who want to entertain their dinner guests. Approximately 17 cases of slightly irregular fortune cookies. What makes these fortune cookies slightly irregular is the actual fortune messages inside, which seem to have been placed there by a disgruntled employee of the factory that made them. I have a few samples here. You will soon be hit by a number 5 bus and spend several weeks in the hospital. Another one says, love will always find the person sitting across from you on a number 5 bus. Okay, and this last one, which reads, a coworker will steal your ideas and use them to gain a big promotion. So, lots of laughs there, obviously. Yeah, so if you're in the market for approximately 17 cases of these slightly irregular fortune cookies, hurry on over to Crazy Crambone's Discount Warehouse, Sandusky, Ohio, and pick them up today. Thank you very much. It's got my name on it.
It's the Academy Award.
I would like to thank the people. Not even this.
All right. All right. That was funny. Sorry. I might have growled bruja suddenly there for a second. You did something accidental. Anyways, all right. Before I bring my favorite pirate, and I don't always like pirates, but I like this pirate, he's going over to this area, because I said so, right? He's also a very great poet, very great presenter, and I'll just let him do his stuff here in a minute. Let me just read one poem real quick. This is actually a poem that is being considered for a film. I've been actually doing films. The last one I did was Z for Zombie, but that's not been available. I can't post pictures quite yet. Me and the missus were zombies. I was even a headbanging zombie at one point. So now we're working on another film about the Wendigo, and apparently I'm supposed to be the indigenous person. As always, it's supposed to be comedy too, but it's always warning everybody about the baloney in conjuring things up. But this one is about the chupacabra, of course. So it's just a little bit long, not too long, and I'll just read through it. This is based on some true events, not all of them are true. Okay, obviously, it involves the chupacabra. So this is near the Mexican-American or the American-Mexican border in 1941. Noche de la Chupacabra, night of the chupacabra. Hopefully I can read this without taking my glasses off. 1. Among stories of Mexican Indians lives a spirit so wild and uncanny, one dangerous creature without restraint, without purpose for mayhem or malice, one that won't be summoned by just appearance, all in his very own, without notice, One that can change a man to a monster and then back again if he so wills it. One that can't be reasoned with an ethos nor understood under its influence. One that mostly demands to stay informed regardless of the rules that govern it. Yet that simply won't work for those who live in the careless lit hours of the night. 2. Among every dark corner of this land, it wrestles with hunger, waiting for food. This is a blood eater, that's for certain. But not as one would think as a vampire. This is a shapeshifter. This is confirmed. Derived from the myth of Poeple, the lost cousin of Coyote, built with something more by its very creator. This thing, this green grayish aberration with one row of spikes upon skull and spine, this old and terrible experiment let loose from labs of ancient visitors. Yet where are they to be found for advice or to rescue humankind from their curse? 3. Among the steady heartbeats of worn drums, Mexica priests chant in the long night. See them by the prickly pear cactus patch near the cover of ancient mesquite trees. See them sweat blood with extreme inciting in the dead language of incantations. See the sharp darkness of obsidian as their prayers rise up with an urgent plea. See the obscure creature percolating through the thin skin of the unsuspecting. See how his face trembles violently, so distorting whatever was once a man. Yet there he's just stood, spouting strange sonnets to a now stunned crowd, growling at the sky. 4. Among the spreading chaos of humans, running everywhere in the name of fear, hear the ripping of fresh flesh by the stage, a paralyzed front that never felt chance. Hear the loud shriek of disembodiment as arms and legs rocket into the sky. Hear the pleas for peace and dear appeasement, begging for continuation of life. Hear the horror of swift denial as decapitations become the core. Hear the widening silence in the air as many fall prey to this mystery. Yet its real lust is nowhere around here except in the pens of some nearby farms. 5. Among the bodies of the beaten chickens, deep in the quiet pens of the suck-dried goats, feel the senseless slaughter of innocents born for the kill much earlier than planned. Feel the serenity of morning peace and the awkwardness of a naked man. Feel the grogginess of some drunken bliss, measured by questions of wide open eyes. Feel the anger of vigilante mobs coming to exact their peasant justice. Feel the rough noose around the neck tighten as the man-beast swings in the air just once, yet transforming again at the gallows, tearing life and limb, laying waste to all. 6. Among the woods, hiding from the others, hiding from this thing that now becomes him. Smell the rancid rotting of humanness worn upon a harsh, transformative skin. Smell the fear of exiting normalcy for things he can never ever explain. Smell the scent of death's guide, the cholo dog, used now to track down the hellish monster. Smell the tension in the electric air as the dogs draw near and heartbeats beat strong. Smell the desperation of hunted man, looking for a way out of this dark mess. Yet once again, the man-beast will escape, live to be transformed on another day. Last, among the arms of his dear beloved, he finds his much-needed rest and rescue. Taste the sweet, luscious lips of a woman, the soft, slim extremities of passion. Taste the drug that put him under to sleep as the drums and chantings begin again. Taste the iron grip of ropes that hold him, awakening upon a stone altar. Taste the deep confusion of the man-beast as the sacrifice signals solutions. Taste the bitterness of the betrayal. Soft hands of a priestess disguised as love, yet this time there is no escape from death as he holds his still beating heart skyward. Thank you. All right. Next up, and certainly not last, Pirate Lord. Arr! Arr! Keep going on.
Some pirates have parrots for pets, some monkeys, other frisky ferrets. But as for me, crew, only an elephant will do. He's huge, but he never forgets. My contribution to the limerick. My name's Steve Sanders. We're already after 1 o'clock, so I'm going to kind of hustle through this. Army veteran for 10 years, but there's a historical precedent for an Army veteran becoming a pirate. Steve Bonnet you don't know anything about pirates, you ought to look this guy up. He retired from the British Army as a major, wound up in the Caribbean, and for some crazy reason, bought a pirate ship and became a pirate. And about 18 months later, he was swinging from a noose. But hey, that's the way it goes. So we're here talking about speculative poetry, and so I wanted to tell you a little bit about my path to speculative poetry. I started out on this path anyway, because we all wrote poems about love and death when we were younger. The two things that seem to attract every poet. I started writing cowboy poetry, and I'll give you an example. Love and death. This one's called My Honey. I loved you more than I ever loved anything, said the old cowboy with a tear in his eye. Now all I do is curse the moon and ask why you had to die. We rode from Galveston to Abilene. We crossed the great desert to the west. We conquered the divide more times than I can count. There was never a river we couldn't test. I remember the trip down to San Antone when we outran that Indian war band. We gave them our dust and lived to tell the tale. My God, you were full of sand. Then there was the trip up to Amarillo, taking Ma's letter to Uncle Ben. We did 60 miles in a single day, and you were ready to go again. And now you lie there cold and still, and it was my hand that laid you low. A rocky trail, a rattlesnake. Oh, my little friend, I loved you so. The only light in this dark place is you won't be alone for long, because when you fell, I followed you. I hit the ground all wrong. My back is broke, my shoulders sprung. I'll die soon without a fire. I always said we'd ride to hell together. I guess God didn't want to make me a liar. I loved you more than I ever loved anything. More than women, more than whiskey, more than money. So why'd you have to die? My game little Mustang, my honey. From there, my wife said, if you're going to write, because we were doing pirate stuff, we were going to Ren fairs dressed as pirates. And my wife said, if you're going to write cowboy poetry, why don't you write pirate poetry? Never thought I would have enough to fill a book, but I started pulling in friends of mine who I knew wrote poetry and challenged them to write pirate stuff. And there's 2 of the 5 books that we have out for publication now, sitting back there on the table. So let me give you a couple of examples. This one's for Armand. You ask me why I sail the sea beneath a flag stained black, why I risk both life and limb and take the pirate tack? The answer is an easy one, a song I love to sing. After years of his bloody taxes, I've come to hate the king. I bear the marks upon me back of scratches from his cat. Too many times I've come up short when his majesty passed the hat. At Pike Point, he collected me pay before it could be spent on niceties like milk, shoes, even to pay the rent. The youngest, she died coughing after a winter without a coat. Me eldest drowned in a summer storm working a fishing boat. Me wife, me darling Maggie, couldn't stand to live like this. So she drank a dram of poison and waited for death's cold kiss. Now all me stanchions are overboard, me kids, me lovely wife. So I spends me time in the sweet trade, I live the pirate's life. No more will I pay me taxes with coins of coppery red. The only tax I'll pay this king is shot made out of lead. But don't you waste a tear, shipmates, crying for the likes of me, for in truth, I've come to love this life for sailing on the sea. There's rum, there's women, there's adventure, and sometimes even gold. And maybe me own ship someday if I live to be that old. And don't forget me, hearties, death is everywhere at sea. The life of a sea dog is a dodgy one, as I'm sure you'll all agree. And someday I'll find me doorway amongst these many harms. and go to spend eternity in beloved families' arms. So I was challenged once to write a pirate poem that doesn't rhyme. So this is a free verse pirate poem. It's called Raising Black Flags. Golden flames, purple and pink, the colors of the sunset blend and flow amongst the clouds as we take in our lives and slip away from the dock. And the crew counts the dolphins as we escape down the channel to the sea. Home falls away behind us as we close with the perils of a life spent in the sweet trade. Bad food, worse water, eels in the rigging, French muskets, Spanish cannon, Dutch rope, dying of thirst becalmed in the doldrums, or drowning when the ship comes apart in a gale. We wager these dangers against phantom coins and untaken treasure chests, spent on red wine nights and exotic ports, with companions paid to make us feel like kings. They do their jobs well. And when we sail, we have the wind in our hair and the horizon to scan for prizes. The pirate's life is most likely short. The pirate's death is most likely sharp. But we are not slaves to any wage, and we call no man sire or squire. In the end, it's not the gold that sets our sails. 'Tis freedom and the fair expectation of a better life. So do I have any steampunk fans in the audience? Anybody interested in steampunk? If you're not familiar with steampunk, it is a lot of it is young adult stuff, but there's also some really good adult steampunk literature. Imagine a Victorian setting with some science fiction thrown in. The first steampunk novels were written about the time that H.G. Wells's works were going into the public domain. So people were taking characters, plots, situations from the H.G. Wells books and rewriting them or adding new stories to them. So I looked around. I was introduced to steampunk, and I looked around. Not a lot of steampunk poetry out there. The only professionally published steampunk poem book was called Steam Poe. And in reality, and of course, as we all know, Poe didn't write in the Victorian era. He died in 45. Victorian era roughly runs 1840 to 1890. He was very popular in the Victorian era, but he was not a Victorian poet. What they did was they took a whole bunch of Poe's works and sort of superimposed them, no pun intended. Rough crowd. Right.
That was a good one, Binky.
Superimposed them on steampunk images. And so I decided, no, we need a poetry aesthetic in the steampunk world. So the first thing I did was I tried to look for a poetry form that was representative of steampunk. And I chose the triolet, another form that wanted to be the limerick for a while but didn't make it. Very, very mechanical rhyme scheme. The first two lines and the last two lines have to mirror each other. The first line and the fourth line have to mirror each other. Thomas Hardy did a really good job with it during the Victorian era. But if you play with the phrasing, if you play with the punctuation, you can add a more human touch. And to me, that's what steampunk is. Very mechanical, but with a human touch. So the first, these are all from a book called Songs for a Mechanical Age. There's copies back there. And the first one I'll read for you, they're very short, as I said. This one's called Steampunk Nation. Tinkerers, tailors, crafters, and mages, the people of the steampunk verse. With cogs and brass, we earn our wages, we tinkerers, tailors, crafters, and mages. But in dreams, we emerge from the written pages of novels and graphic tales diverse. Tinkerers, tailors, crafters, and mages, the people of the steampunk verse. So I tried to write with some steampunk themes, but steampunk characters are still just human beings. Well, some of them are anyway. I describe speculative fiction as if you have a couple, he is a British ship captain in 1850, and she is a French spy, and they fall in love and run away from the rest of the world. That's fiction. If he is a vampire and she is from Mars, that's speculative fiction. In that vein, the vapor phase. I remember when you were like water flowing and we were the fire in your heart. Remember how the pressure was always growing? I remember. When you were like water flowing and our love like coals was red hot glowing. Oh, remember how we were at the start. I remember when you were like water flowing and we were the fire in your heart. But triolets are not everybody's cup of tea. This book was reviewed by a professor at the University of West Virginia who said that obviously triolets sound much better in French. So, because it was a French form at the beginning, you know. So I decided to write some other steampunk pieces, and we've recorded them and put original music and sound effects behind them. And we've made a CD, and I actually added some poetry. If you're interested in the CD, I've got copies back there, or in the progressive vein, you can go online with this QR code and you can actually sample and download tracks from 43 streaming services around the world, which may be the future of poetry. I don't know. But to kind of bring it back full circle, as I was looking into the Victorian era, and I'm kind of an amateur historian. In 1870, the American Civil War had ended, and the Prussians and French were fighting a war. The Victorian era was coming to an end, or not coming to an end, but the Romantic period was coming to an end. All these poets and writers believed that things like honor and glory and love, they were going to become passé with the mechanized revolution. You no longer had to stand face to face to fight a foe. You could kill him from 500 yards away, and you could kill at a much more rapid pace. 1870, the Franco-Prussian War was the first use of the modern machine gun. Artillery had advanced. It was an age with a tremendous amount of questions, with a tremendous amount of issues that were being faced by average people. And to me, that kind of mirrors the age that we're in. So this last piece I'll share with you is a Shakespearean sonnet. It's entitled Sonnet 1875. The candle burns down low beside my bed. I wake from dreams unsettling and obscene. The doctor has been here and seen me bled. His vow? To render Hypnos more serene. Born to a world of noble peace and light, my age has been transformed with living fires. My mind and will spring fearful from the height to which this new mankind ever aspires. I am far past the midpoint of my days. I could sleep on, enjoy lethargic rest, lose myself in gray memorial haze. But then I fail in my eternal test. Instead, I rise and stand abreast with you and live this dream to forge our world anew. Thank you very much, and I know
I know I speak for everybody on the panel. We really appreciate Juan and Malia, and we also appreciate all of the people that are connected with the People's Poetry Festival. Thank you very much for having us. Arr. All right. Before we get to the questions, I'm going to end it with, I'm going to teach you guys an abundance of different types of speculative poems today. And, you know, hopefully you got something out of that. So I'm going to throw in one last type of speculative poetry, and this is called Indigenous Futurism. So I'm going to do just three. I had actually a little bit more than that, but we'll do just three. And then we'll get to questions and answers in case there's some questions, because I'm pretty sure there probably is, especially from those guys out here.
I have a question.
You got a question? Why am I here? I don't know. All right. Again, this is Indigenous Futurism. That means imagining a different future. Had certain things not happen in our history. Obviously, it happened the way they did. So, and the ones that I'm going to read are actually haiku crown. And you say, well, haikus are not that entertaining, but I'm going to do my best. Okay? This one's called Godzilla at the Powwow. Hey, 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 I think rhythmic rumbling sound, music from the heart. He shows up sometimes after messing up a place to cool himself down. Back since the Astro Monster, dancing for the wind, dancing for his life, dancing for its sacred, dancing for prayer. He must be part Indian, puts him in a trance. Powwows aren't the same without a kaiju stop dance. Peyote puff cloud. Reminds him of something gone. He never says what. Hey, 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 all right, thank you. Okay, let me get to two more. This is called Mexico City, 2101 AD. Again, a reimagining the history of the Mexica, where we get the name the Mexicans or the Mexicano, Spanish. Mexico City, 2101 AD. Priests of the night sky awaiting for the return upon the pyramids. Slaughtering thousands, the best of all warriors, the highly esteemed. Leaving no tribe out, taking no chances with luck, destined prophecy. Now moving forward, purging a conqueror's seed, born for this purpose. Children of Cortés, massacred meal for mutants, fulfilling promise. Old sky feels different, atmosphere bright blue with change. A welcome strangeness, spotted near Saturn, the feathered serpent starship, aspect god of old. All right, thank you. And this last one is, again, about the ancient astronaut theory and how it's mixed in with our cultures sometimes. So this is imagining something happening way behind some of the things that occurred. A place among skies. At play, awake within stars. Heaven is not a whimsy, home to the living kin. Set all across the skies, we find more turtle islands filled with mighty tribes. Old men, new generations from old ones beyond this earth, stories we pass on. Yea, sitting here and there, an ancestor's instruction as they did before. Now we, dance around the drum, like a dance from world to world, our creators planned. Makui, learn to make rockets, migrate into the cosmos, ingrain DNA. Chikwase, stagnate no longer within Masichu's weak walls, built to trap your mind. Thank you. All right. That's why indigenous futurism. I know sometimes it's a little hard to swallow, but you gotta be maybe a student of history and maybe a student of indigenous people as well. Questions? Lots of them, I'm sure.
What is life?
What just happened?